Hello Aeson people, thank you for tuning into this small quick video. So anyway, some of you already know, you've seen videos. At the moment I'm working, of course, more importantly on the A350 updates. My planes are of course, the priority. But I did mention in the previous video about our next major project in the Aeson. So for some of you, you know, we have our test airport, AHA, which is the Andrew Holderness airport. So as I said, the history about that airport, it's an executive airport which I repurposed from a friend called Aquinfile. Some people know him as Hardscope, and in part of that processing or redo, well, not redo, really, it was really just an extension. Of course, as we're growing, and I know by the time we bring out whatever Boeing comes out, we're going to need a nice new airport which is suited for these big jets. Those who do test that are playing airport at the moment, quite a few of you, I've usually joined to have a look at what people are doing, get some nice videos of people flying, but I've noticed more importantly that it gets crowded at times very quickly. One of the big issues we've had is of course runaways. So if someone does block a runway or someone blocks a taxiway, you can easily ground at that airport a lot of things, and there's a lot of intervening I didn't really want to do. So basically the plan with this new airport is of course to bring capacity, and this new airport is gonna be pretty massive, not too big of course, but it's gonna be, yeah, pretty big, enough for A380, 777s, whatever you can throw at. At the moment, of course, I've been doing testing, just testing the road. I've just been laying out the road. Doing the roads are the very easy bit of planning the airport, etc. I will drive the bus just to give a quicker overview over. But what's going to happen, of course, the airport's going to be around here. And what we're doing here is we're just laying out the roads. We've got our lovely statue here. You basically climb up. This is the basically the front area, the parlor. You know, got some nice reflectance there. You know, and basically, also, by the way, this statue is a free model. It's actually a very good free model statue. So I was like, why make a statue if you've got one, you know? So if you're looking for it, just literally type statue and it's like one of the free models there. So basically what's happening here, I'm going to basically try and explain. So you've got the blues here. I mean, I label them as premium parking. By the way, for anyone that's confused on the airport name, so the inspiration for the airport name was I know a Spanish woman who's called Nina, and she has a lot of friends as well. So I decided, hey, why not make a Spanish type airport, and name it, you know, after her and her friends. So basically the airport is called Del Amiga de Nina. So really simple, and basically Del is, in Spanish, is the, Amiga is, you know, the female friends, and then de means of, and of course Nina is the name. So the Spanish, the airport is basically, if you translate it to English, the friends of Nina. I mean, it sounds very basic, of course, but you know, in Spanish it sounds a bit much different, of course, with the Del Nina, Del Amiga, de Nina, and it's a bit of a tongue thing, so it definitely does take a bit of a rolling off the tongue, but it's unique, like the airport should be. So anyway, there's a lot of, I still have a lot of road doing. Basically what's going on here is that it's part CSG and part mesh. As I say, the perfect mix for an airport is to do an airport part CSG, part mesh where you can. Now you can of course do an airport all mesh, however it is, unless you've got the proper scale. Like now I have a proper scale, so anything I do in Blender is exactly what it will turn up on Roblox Studio. So in that process I could make a whole airport in Blender, but for certain simple stuff, like you know, the bridge part, the this area here, it's really simple to actually just do CSG and do the CSG stuff for that. So basically for me the advice is of course is to, if you're gonna ever do airports, just do a mix, don't do just one, because you get the best of both worlds. There are certain things CSG does for airports, time savings, etc., that mesh is not always going to do, and there's certain qualities, lag reduction, having the ability to do certain curves, certain things like that without too much, that is important there. So yeah, when you're making an airport, make sure to take that as note. Also, this airport is inspired by like 6 different airports, so I took 6 different designs. So and when the actual airport base is actually done, you'll notice. So I decided to take Chennai, the Qatar airport. I decided to also take a bit of Dubai in here. Inspiration also comes, well, later on there'll be eventually, if I do decide to do Heathrow as well, more so with the little podcasts I kind of wanted to do as well there. With this, on the same time I got inspiration from the Abuja airport, it's Nigeria, and also my favorite one is also K-Bos, or Boston Logan Airport as well. The flyover again is inspired by Qatar airport. There's a certain flyover that leads into, of course, the, I believe on their one it's got to be the departures. I definitely hope it's departures. It's departures or arrival, but I believe it's departures. I know in Heathrow the top floor is usually the departures as well. So I'm having two levels only, and the bottom being arrivals and the top being departures, because I expect, hence why you see the double deck on the top, that more people will be departing than they would be arriving. Usually at an airport, you're supposed to get more departures when you do arrivals, because most of the arrivals into an actual airport are not always actually coming into the country. You'll find a lot of what passengers you see on your plane or something are just connecting to go to another airport. So most of the time, the bigger area or the more packed areas, the departures, and thus why that double deck's on the top. That double decker will not be able to fit under here, that's for sure. This area is pretty, in terms of height, is not big enough for a double decker, but to be honest, at an airport you don't always see a double decker, so I'm not surprised. And of course, before anyone asks this, oh no, that pillar's in the way, yeah, that pillar of course will be removed. There. Same goes with any fine tunes and fine touches. There's quite a bit with how the road is. Just did a random layout, but the road layout is pretty basic. What it is few loops going around car parks. The main road will loops around here. So what happens is the main road, let me try it. Since I can't use my cursor, I have to simulate it. So the main road goes like this, we'll take the turn here, because you're not going straight down here. If you're going straight down here, you're going into parkings, and of course if you go further straight down, you're just gonna go towards the bridge. Then the main road continues this way all the way down, takes the turn here, and then there's gonna be, of course, when you move down here, then it's just gonna be the main road all the way down. Okay, all the way down. You can continue going all the way down here, of course, and then you can of course connect to your flyover, which is over here. This little flyover is here, or continue to go wherever you're going. Of course, because it's an airport and the main focus is on the airport, the scenery and etc is not going to be too much, and it's not going to be like a massive city where you can drive. It's not a city driving game. It's not really a driving game anyway. By the time airlines do get this, and I will talk about the amount of airports will be sent. The amount, by the time anyway airports get this, most of the passengers won't even be driving, so you really just have a bus maybe take you from one point or whatever down. I'm still as I said, I'm still considering the pod cars that I talked about here, and I'm also considering the monorail to be actually possibly, instead of having the arrivals bit here, I might just have an actual monorail going all the way down, or the pod car system going all the way down. However, of course, this just for now dreams. It depends on what the design process is and what I enjoy. I mean, as I said, people know that we were talking about Aeson trains, and or Romero and whatever, and actually by the time this airport is released, it will be after whatever bearing we selected. When its release date is, it's going to launch at Nina Airport. We're going to use it to launch at Nina Airport, and around then, as I said, if that progress is done, it could be very likely that this bottom bit will be actually redone, not redone, but then the tracks will be laid, and either the pod car or the actual monorail type system will take people from arrivals to somewhere down here, and back consistently. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much that in terms of talking. Oh, there we go. That reminds me. The amount of units. So the amount of units I am aiming. Oh, the way Roblox has changed this stuff. The amount of units I'm aiming to provide of this, no more than 10. So about 10 to 12 is the most I'll be offering, and then it's completely closed. Because as I said, I don't want this an overused airport. There were great airports, of course, all around. For people who are interested, they're great airports. Just outside of Aeson already. As I said, Azaleas, Hidalgo, there'll be by that time many other airports as well. But I just don't want this airport to be overused at all. And it's because it's actually going to be one of the Aeson's, of course, primary airport. Is going to be our primary airport now when it's out, to replace AHA, so that operations at AHA reduce a bit. Of course, we don't want to see like every like Harry with Del Amiga, all the time, Del Amiga. We want to still have like a people inspired by the airport, and then have to make their own, and of course the price will reflect, of course, the airport. For those wanting to know what we will come with, so as standard, it will come with the Aeson Jetway, free, of course. It will come with the it's going to come with a small mini system that should help to control things in terms of, like, what I call level of detail, where, if you're struggling somehow with the airport quality or whatever in terms of your passenger or whatever, they can just reduce it to a level where it will show the important bits of the airport but remove anything that might not be too important, and there will be like tons of stuff, one or two, not tons of stuff, but one or two other stuff. I'm gonna have working escalators there. I don't believe there's going to be any lifts needed because of how the design is. It's mainly escalators. There's going to be some decent interior. I don't believe it will be fully furnished, but it will be, in terms of, like, the designs, there will be certain lights there. I think I'll do a ticket area possibly, as an extension, anyone that needs like a ticket area, but most airlines are very equipped for these. I've seen a lot of airlines that have ticket areas, so it's not really, for me, as I say, really super essential. And then it's of course gonna have terminals, so I think there will be like 1 or 2 terminals left, right, of the main building, of course. And as I said, there's going to be 2 floors, of course, in terms of level 1 and level 2. I'm going for, as you already saw from the bus station design, I'm looking to go for a modern slab type design, where the airport's mainly going to be like open plan, in terms of it's going to be a lot of, not too much glass, but most of the primitive most of its distinguishable features are going to be like glass, so it's going to give you that kick to look at the airport and be like, wow, that's a beauty. Like the Glamoria, I call this the Glamodrome. The Glamodrome looks like already looks so nice. In night time, it looks amazing. I don't have admin on this place there, or else I would have shown you. I think that's that. I'm gonna go into one of these buses. I'll take this blue bus, and I'll try and have a drive right now. Try and get most of the places shown. So let's have a look here. So ideally at this part, of course, you want to be careful when you're driving. The rails, of course, I've made to be collision on, because of course you need the barriers to be on. You want to drive, of course, slowly here, not drive how I'm driving. Your buses will be, of course, compared to the ones I'm using, will be more powerful than this. So basically I'm just gonna drive again. So let me show you how the main road works. So you would be on this section here if you want to stay on the main road. If you wanted to go on parking, you would have gone here, okay? But if we want to continue on the main road, we're gonna take our turn here, continue, and then literally there would be like a turn here, and then you would basically connect to the main road like here. That's how to have the main road. You continue straight down, and you continue going all the way down there to the main road, okay? Now if I wanted to, of course, go to arrivals, if by the time this is done arrivals is by road, you would basically go this way. Of course I'm a double decker, so I'm not going to fit under there, but we'll go through this way just to have a look at the parking zone. So of course, this is the parking zone. So the whites is, of course, normal parking. Greens is parents and child. It's not really gonna matter to some of you guys. Red is officials and yellow is staff, but it's not really gonna matter to you guys, of course, too much, unless you're going really realistic and like having like where people have to drive to get to the airport or whatever. If not, of course, that's not going to be important to you, because really that's just if you have cars and like roleplay type things. But yeah, and then most of this area is just the airport entrance, etc. We continue this way. This would lead you back again to another main road if you take this turn here. I think I'm driving illegally on the wrong side actually. If you took, I think I am. You continue driving this way, and then if you take this left now, you would go back onto the main road we were talking about. Because if I take this right here, which is illegal by the way, so don't take that right there. You would continue going this way and continuing straight down, all the way down. Basically, again, this is the main road stretch all the way down again until you have to make the turn and connect to wherever you're going. So yeah, it's literally a basic layout, but it's pretty fun to drive actually. And as you can see from the distance, it is, of course, man, the airport's going to be pretty big. I don't think it's going to be the biggest airport, as you guys already know. I think Turkish has the biggest airport. The aim of this isn't to have the biggest airports, mainly just to have a... Ooh, I crashed. I have a very, very clear reason why. I mean, I know why that happened. So there's, when I did this CSG, and it wasn't in my video before, but when I did the CSG part here, I must have not made a collision off, so it's blocking that part. So no climbing up for today on that side, so we'll just take our left again and then go back the other way. But yeah, so as I said, new airport, many polishings. Of course, by the time it's ready, I'm gonna be very, very naughty here and take this turn and then just go through here. Of course, you wouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be driving through the park. Also, this bus is so, physics wise, it's pretty off. Like, it feels like a race car. Anyway, all the way down. I should have actually taken the other road here. It would have been a clean entrance in. So now I'm going to do a very, very tight turn. Whoa. And the bus, for some unknown reason, this specific bus can't climb this hill without like spazzing out. Oh well, time to dump this bus and get the other one. So at least that passes me on that test, and it's moving. I can't wait to get out of this bus. Oh, my days were stuck. Ugh, such a useless bus. There we go. We're gonna go out the bus, and the seat just tried to rob me. Okay. Alright. Let's go get into this bus. I'm gonna start the engine on. Just like a typical airport bus. But I did kind of nerf it a bit, but it's still overpowered, which is disappointing. So here we go. I'm gonna stay in the camera in the driver mode, because why not? Oh, I'm supposed to shift gears. I did. Okay, I'm going too fast there. This is like a one-way street, by the way, before anyone gets confused and does like bad driving. So that street is literally that way only, down onto this main road again. You can just see the airport's like lights from barely from here. So I'm going to take this actually. Yeah, this bus can go underneath, can't it? I'm going to take this in. Look how fast I'm going with this bus. Oh dear, I'm going to need to brake here actually. So yeah, you would continue here. You would be past this part. I know for sure you'd go past this part, I believe. Because it's the parking zone. I believe we'll plot the airport, yeah, here. We'd plot literally the airport entrance would be here, and you'd literally pick up arrivals here. Literally the airport doors would be here, you pick up the arrivals, and then you'd get going. If you're here, oops, let me shift down. If you're here to pick up like people or whatever, you basically keep on driving, enter the car park in this way. You can enter it really anyway. I'm gonna find your parking spot, of course. Since I'm a bus, I'm gonna probably not even take off like all of the car spots there. Why not? Yeah, you continue going. Once you're done, you drive off. And that's pretty much, at least for now, everything with the airport. I won't be able to start working on the actual airport, as I said, until maybe even until the A321 is out, only because, as I said, it's really barely the airport's just started progress of recent, and it's not a focus, so I'm only doing little bits where I can. The whole road planning thing took a while. I think we had 6 different variations. The first variation was pretty, I won't lie, it was pretty stupid. We had a massive circle and then two lines, or 2 roads, sorry, not lines, that would go out and they would go to different places. Of course, you can tell that doesn't really look nice and it's pretty boring as well. The third one I think was pretty fun. However, I could see it not really working well, which was to have basically like homes and just a small city not too far away from the airport, and then have basically have water and have an underwater bridge. Imagine an underwater tunnel for the cars and the buses that are transporting the passengers, to transport them through to like an airport island, basically kind of like New York, but just for an airport. I didn't really like that idea either, and it doesn't really for me make sense. So there was other variations, etc., but this one just made more sense, which is to just have a nice airport that has parking, has a good amount of driving distance, for the airport, that if airlines, like I know as Azalea for example, they do it themselves as well, where they have the if I think it's louder also, they do have where they transport passengers from a set distance. So yeah, those type of airlines that you actually transport your passengers at the start or ferry them, yeah, this is what like basically the aim is, which is a very good idea. I've always wanted, as I said, I spoke to I would believe, I don't know if it was Ike or something, I was speaking to people where I said, people should be either speaking with train transport groups and saying, hey, can you put my group link here, and have people, like, if they drive a train or if they ride the train to this station, like it teleports them to this airport, especially if you're having flights, that people can do that ahead of time. Maybe say the flight happens at 1:30 p.m. BST time, then you have passengers, basically, if you know the time it takes, you know, like on SER or whatever, to get to the airport, have it an hour early that the passengers have to travel in. That makes it a bit more realistic, because they've made the journey in. And then of course their destination, having a destination where they can walk through and they join somewhere, like the city they flew to or whatever, again makes more realism. But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts, and this is just me showcasing the airport, and hopefully more later on. So goodbye people.